welcome to the road from Las Vegas. Today our journey takes us to Moraga, California, the home of the St. Mary's Gales, the champions of the 2010 Zappos.com West Coast Conference Men's Basketball Championships. Later on, we'll sit down with St. Mary's head coach Randy Bennett to talk X's and O's. We'll also visit with the two MVPs of the tournament. On the women's side, Courtney Vandersloot of the Gonzaga Bulldogs, and on the men's side, Mickey McConnell of the St. Mary's Gales. Let's check out where all the WCC teams playing in postseason are playing this coming week. In all, 8 WCC basketball teams are advancing to the postseason with 4 on each side. On the men's side, Gonzaga and St. Mary's earned bids to the NCAA Tournament. St. Mary's, the WCC's automatic qualifier, is the number 10 seed in the South Regional and will travel to Providence, Rhode Island to face number 7 Richmond in the first round this Thursday at noon. Should St. Mary's advance, the Gales will face either number 2 seed Villanova or 15 seed Robert Morris on Saturday. Gonzaga received an at-large bid and is the number 8 seed in the West Regional. The Zags will travel to Buffalo, New York to face the number 9 seeded Florida State Seminoles in the first round on Friday. Should the Zags advance, they will take on either number 1 Syracuse or number 16 seeded Vermont on Sunday. Loyola Marymount and Portland accepted invitations to play in the CollegeInsider.com postseason tournament. For the first time ever, LMU will host a postseason game at Gersten Pavilion when the Lions welcome in Pacific on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, Portland, playing in the CIT for the second year in a row, travels to Greeley, Colorado to play at Northern Colorado. Representing the women in the NCAA Tournament is regular season and WCC Tournament champion Gonzaga. The Zags received the number 7 seed in the Sacramento Regional, and they will face number 10 seeded North Carolina in Seattle on Saturday. Should the Zags advance, they would take on number 2 seeded Texas A&M or number 15 seed Portland State. 2 WCC teams earned invitations to play in the WNIT, and regular season runner-up St. Mary's and WCC tournament runner-up Pepperdine. The Waves will travel to Brigham Young for a first-round game on Thursday, while St. Mary's will host Utah in a first-round contest Sunday afternoon. Rounding out the WCC's postseason team is the Portland women, who will play at Washington on Wednesday evening in the inaugural Women's Basketball Invitational. St. Mary's Gales head coach Randy Bennett and tournament MVP Mickey McConnell. First of all, Randy, Selection Sunday this year, was it a little more relaxing and a little less taxing than it was a year ago?
180 degrees. It was 2 different scenarios, and I like this one much better. It's you know you're in the tournament. I think it helps in a lot of ways, in that, like, the practices that week, because our conference tournament's so early. There's a lot of time there. The practices, the kids were way more focused. The 2 previous times, we were just finding out that we were getting in the NCAA tournament, so there was the excitement, the 2 or 3 day buzz, and then you had to play the next day. Well, this year, there was no real buzz. It was, we're in, who are we playing? But all the buzz took place the week before after we won the conference tournament. So in a long version, that's kind of how it went.
Well, a big part of the reason for that buzz is seated over to your left, Mickey McConnell. And Mickey, you had a great tournament. Talk about winning the MVP and what it meant to you and what it meant for St. Mary's as a program to finally beat Gonzaga.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think it meant more to win the conference tournament. It's the first time in a while that we've won it. And the team that we have, I think we were preseason ranked 4th. And so it was nice to come out and beat 2 great teams on the road.
Now, looking at the matchup with the Richmond Spiders, Randy, you've had a chance to look at much tape on them?
A little bit. We watched some last night, but today was pretty busy with a lot of media stuff and practice, so we'll watch them tonight and break them down more. Chris Mooney's their coach. We played against them when Chris was coaching the Air Force, so we have a familiarity with how they play, but we haven't seen this team with these guys much. So I know this. They're well coached, and they have a good team, and their backcourt is supposed to be really good.
Well, speaking of coaches, you got a pretty good coach on the floor out here, and Mr. McConnell, he's the son of a coach, the grandson of a coach. How much has that helped you this year in this run to the NCAA tournament?
You know, it's funny. We went to Australia this summer, and Mickey's not the most talkative guy. He talks when he wants to talk. He talks with his friends, but he talks when he needs to talk. And when we were in Australia, I probably didn't say – I bet I didn't tell him 10 things to do. I mean, we played 6 games. I hardly had to tell him anything. When we came back from that trip, I thought we had one of the best point guards in the league. But you don't know till he does it, and then he did it. And one of the reasons he's really good is he's a coach on the court. He sees things before that you might not see as a coach, or before you would see as a coach, and takes care of them. But it's kind of been that way this season. I don't have to talk to him that much during game because he always knows what's going on.
Let's make him talk right here. Mickey, what's the buzz been like on the campus here in Moraga? Has everyone stopping you in class, in the hallways, in the dorms? I mean, can you get through the food line in the cafeteria without somebody asking you, how does it feel to be in the NCAAs, or congratulating you?
Yeah, the first couple of days were a little hectic. It's kind of died down a little bit now since the week's gone on, but I think the buzz right after the tournament was a lot greater than right now, and I think our guys are just kind of ready to get focused on playing Richmond and getting to Providence.
Randy, you've been at St. Mary's for a decade now. Is this the best yet?
Well, they're the first team that won a championship for us, so they are certainly in that group of teams. This team is the most – we've had some really coachable teams, so I don't want to make it sound like the others weren't. But this team's been the most enjoyable to coach, most coachable. They let you coach them. They enjoy each other. They're most unselfish, best passing team we've had, so that makes it fun.
Well, gentlemen, good luck in Providence against the Richmond Spiders. You're the number 10 seed in the South region, and you can see the St. Mary's Gales on CBS. And let's switch gears to the women's side of the 2010 Zappos.com West Coast Conference Basketball Championships. Gonzaga won the event for the second year in a row, and Courtney Vandersloot took home the MVP honors for the second year in a row. We're now joined by Courtney. And Courtney, first of all, how does it feel to win back-to-back MVPs?
It's an honor, it really is, but at the same time you have to say, like, it's being a part of the program that I am, the team that I am. I'm lucky enough and fortunate enough to be surrounded by players that each one of them make me better as a player, so it really is an honor just to be on their team.
Well, Courtney, last year you and the Bulldogs missed the Sweet 16 by a whisker. How much is that experience going to help you in this year's NCAA tournament?
It's going to help us in the long run because last year, you know, we felt like what it tasted like to win in the NCAA, but we also tasted what it feels like to lose. So at the same time, it's going to be a learning experience. It's one of those things that it'll give us confidence. It'll give us even just the experience and the time that we get to be in the same area that we're familiar with the arena. It's going to help us. Last year, we'll definitely take with us for this year's NCAA.
Courtney, a short trip for the Bulldogs in the postseason. You're heading over to Seattle to open things up in the NCAA tournament. Do you think you'll have much of a home court advantage as you head across the great state of Washington?
I don't know if it's a home court advantage as much as just like I said, just the familiarity and just the confidence that we had last year. You know, hopefully with the guys going all the way to Buffalo, we'll get some of those DU fans around here just wanting to cross the mountains and come support us. So, you know, we're a different team when we have fans behind us. So I hope that it will definitely some sort of home court advantage.
Well, Courtney, we know about your ball club's experience from last year's NCAA tournament. We know about your 14-0 record in the WCC and running through the conference tournament in Las Vegas. How far do you see this veteran ball club going, especially behind leaders like yourself and Heather Bowman?
We think that we're a special team here. We think that we can definitely make history when it comes to what Gonzaga has done as a program. You know, we're just taking one game at a time. Right now we're focused on getting past the first round and past North Carolina. So, you know, we're striving for things bigger than that, but right now we're just focused on that first round win.
Courtney, thanks a lot for joining us, and best of luck to you, head coach Kelly Graves, and the rest of the Bulldogs in your quest for an NCAA championship. You can follow all of the WCC teams playing in the basketball postseason 24/7 on WCCSports.com. Thanks for joining us in Moraga, California. I'm George Devine for WCC TV.